What's happening, everybody? Today we are with my guy here, Nick Lynn, the builder, developer, owner of Revere. This guy's building some incredible properties here in Orange County. He's got some projects that are up in Los Angeles as well, but right now we're standing, this one is 814
Huntington Street.
Huntington Street. And then we have one that's right next door, which is almost complete, which we're gonna show you. We're gonna walk you through Nick's vision, his build, his attention to detail is next level. So welcome, Nick.
Thank you for having me, I appreciate it.
I'm super excited. So how did this thing start? So this was one house, you guys knocked it down, now you're building two on a lot. What was the vision for this property?
So this property was a 115-year-old property. It was a very, very small home. I think it was 750 to 800 square feet. The reason why this was so desirable for us was because it was on a double lot, and this property is located in a downtown Huntington Beach district that's zoned R2, which is essentially the ability to build two structures. So what we did was, to your original question, is we decided to buy this property with the intention of doing a subdivision where we could separate it and allow for two parcels. So that gave us the opportunity to build two separate detached single family homes on what was the land that was purchased with only one home. So the entry point relative to the ability to sell two of purchasing one seemed like a feasible and financially positive expedition for us. This property is also very close. We're only 8 blocks from the beach, 7 blocks from Pacific City. So that large commercial center is extremely attractive to homeowners, but then like I said, it was a double lot. We just subdivided it and built two structures. So that was the first and primary reason why this was desirable for us.
It's beautiful, man, and I love it. I cannot wait for you guys to see all of the little tiny details that this man has taken into crazy consideration. So this vision for this house was a little more modern from the one next door, correct?
We wanted to have them somewhat similar, but at the same time differentiate the two so that whoever moves in and calls it their home doesn't feel like it's just a number, or if it's one of two that are identical. So what we did was we made this is 814 Huntington Street. We made this a modern contemporary kind of feel, right? The term is somewhat subjective, but this is a modern contemporary. And what we're gonna do next door at 816, and it's almost finished. We still have some abilities for customization, but we're aiming at more of a modern farmhouse where we have, the apron sinks, the accent wood paneling, the exposed beams, things like that.
No, I love it. So you guys are in for a treat. We're gonna go and literally walk through this place, see the kitchen and see everything. Here we go. Okay, so now we are in this beautiful, expansive kitchen with the stonework is amazing. And I'm gonna turn this over to Nick and let him kind of tell you about all these little details of the home.
Yeah, so there's just a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. So first of all, this slab here on the entire island, this island is just shy of 13 feet. But we also did what's called a waterfall feature. So as I'm sure you may know, a waterfall is where the slab actually goes down all the way to the floor. So in lieu of just having it stop here and then just having the cabinet exposed, we decided to waterfall this feature. In addition, since we wanted to really pay extra attention, this slab not only comes down here, which isn't often the case, we also put an entire slab on the backsplash here. So as a lot of homes that you've seen, they'll tile it and just kind of leave it at that, or even just run like a chair rail backsplash. We actually slabbed the entire thing. And then in addition, since we knew that the hood, the chimney for the hood actually kind of comes inward, we actually, instead of stopping the slab here, we ran the slab all the way to the ceiling because we knew that there was going to be trim pieces on the side exposed. So that was something we paid attention to. Another great feature that we really love about this kitchen, and I know Andy said the same, is that this is paneled. So this is the dishwasher, and then also the refrigerator and the freezer are also paneled. So when you purchase the appliances, it's a great feature to buy the appliance what's called panel ready, and it allows for these pockets inside the appliance that on the edge of it, panels can be put on. So we actually think that that's a great feature. When we built the cabinets, we built with the specifications of having the appliance already. So that we thought was a great feature, and it really kind of looks seamless, and it looks like these pulls just go into another cabinet, but then it's the fridge. So that was something we really, really liked. In addition, this fridge, as you'll see here, you just push it and it opens. So we thought that that was a great feature as well.
So now we're in one of my favorite features of this particular house. We're in the wine area and the place to entertain. So this looks like a regular wine rack, but Nick's gonna tell us a little more about it.
Absolutely, thanks Andy. So this wine cellar here is right off of the kitchen and it's right off of the dining room. So it's an excellent spot to entertain. And in addition, we have basically an enormous amount of wine that could be displayed here. I think it's between 60 and 65 bottles here. So what we did here is this glass piece we thought was a great feature, but in addition, we ran it all the way and sealed the perimeter. And then in addition, in framing, before all of the drywall was up, we actually ran additional ductwork to this area. And then there's an additional wine temperature cooling unit, a whisper cool. It's a pretty expensive and extensive machine, but it actually has a thermometer there that actually goes into a wine bottle that you'll see there. And then there's also a gauge to set it at whatever temperature you want. So when you enter this space here, there's cabinetry here. We did want to keep it a wet bar. We thought that that is just an extra value add. You know, sometimes we'll have it just floor to ceiling wine racks, but this would allow you to, while you're entertaining, to mix drinks, and you know, it has a spot to be able to, you know, put some hors d'oeuvres and things like that. But in addition, because this was tight here, instead of having doors here, we actually put drawers so that you can get to it without having to open up doors. And there's a lot of different things that go into it. We just really love the way that it turned out, and we hope you do too.
Okay, so now we are on the second floor. We're in this beautiful master suite, fireplace, incredible bathroom behind you guys, which we're gonna get to in a second, but a really cool feature and detail that Nick put into this home that was custom for the buyers. Here's what we maybe didn't mention. This home was sold before it was even close to completed. So he's been doing these custom details for the buyer as he goes.
So at this home, it is a smart home. So the reason we say smart home is because it allows for a Control4 to have an application on somebody's phone to do the lighting, the speakers, temperature control, what have you. And so when the buyers came in here, it was extremely important for them to have a sense of privacy, but in addition to be able to monitor and control. When you have a home of this size, there's so many different windows and doors to account for. So what we did is we had low voltage cable run through the entire house, inlaid on all the windows. So all of the windows will have inlaid shades. And then in addition here, instead of having a very large, basically roll of material that would be the shades, we decided that, I brought it up to them, why don't we build soffits? So that's what this is here. This is a small area drop ceiling that will hide the shades. So as soon as it goes up, you no longer see it. And then at a click of a button, once these are put in, these shades come down, and then when it's tucked away, you don't have to take a look at it every day. And it's just an extra touch. We put it at the downstairs living room, we put it here, we put it at the bifolding doors on both sides that enter the patio area, which we'll show you, and then also up on the third story as well, out toward the deck.
My friends, Nick builds these homes like he's going to live there. I think that really sets him apart from a lot of other builders. Like, they're building to get it sold quickly. Nick is here every day. He's making sure these details are all done personally because he wants to put his name and stamp on every product that he builds, like he's gonna live here with his family. And I think that's just a huge piece to mention.
So as you enter the master bath here, there's just a couple of things I want to make mention. So we have a floor to ceiling steam shower here. So this allows for, you know, the rain head and everything to just really make it a steam shower and really add to that experience. There's also a freestanding tub here. So this freestanding tub has the filler here, and it allows for just an extra little attention to detail on having it sort of that modern contemporary look, as opposed to a shower that has the tile all around it and is built around it. The buyers of this property are really, really in love with this tile. This is a porcelain tile. And so they wanted to run it all the way you could see. So another thing that you'll see is we ran it on all the walls up there and all the walls up here on this back part of the vanity as well. And then, like I said, all on the floor. So it's just a great attention that they really wanted, and we wanted to make sure that we were taking care of them for that. So then we have the double vanity here, and then here's the pocket door that leads you to the water closet here, and then also the master closet back here. So a couple of pulls here, hang your towel, and then also this is the master closet here. So this was something also that we added. So we added these doors here so that the buyers could hang, you know, whether it be their purses or their watches or their belts, whatever that their shoes, whatever they're into. So that was something that they wanted.
Okay, so now we are on the 3rd floor. One thing cool about these homes, they're great for families, but these are also incredible homes to party and entertain. So you have this huge area that's downstairs that has the kitchen and the wine bar and the outside area and the waterfall and the little, you have all that. And then you come all the way to basically the roof and the 3rd story, and you have this big expansive room, completely custom, beautiful wet bar behind us, bathroom, fireplace, spa, like huge deck. I mean, this is a great place to live, and you're at the beach. So please tell us about this beautiful bonus room and like some of the detail that went into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Andy mentioned, this is the bonus room. It's up on the 3rd floor. It's got beautiful views down toward Pacific City. And what we wanted to do here was we put a built-in cabinet here. So if you'll see here, this is gonna be sort of that entertainment area. And then we've actually pre-purchased with the buyers certain speakers that are already gonna go in on the corners there. So this cabinet was actually built for a specific set of speakers, which is pretty cool. And then this extra unit here is for the high definition TVs that kind of goes, all kinds of additional technology that goes into something like this, way above, you know, what I can comprehend from a technology standpoint. These 2 windows here that you'll see here, this window and this window, in the original architecture, they were actually closer together. So we pushed them out specifically for that 86-inch TV. We had to go back to city planning and get it reapproved on the elevation plans in order to do that. These are 18 inches from the wall. That was the most we were allowed to push them out. So it's just sort of an additional attention to detail. It's something that we can appreciate and the buyers can appreciate, and you know, it's just a great little story. So as Andy was saying a little bit more about this room and just some of the details, we have the wet bar back here. We have a wine fridge. We have some more of that stone that's in the fireplace downstairs that's also in the wine cellar. It's also outside on the fountain. So that's just a little touch. We wanted to have some sort of continuity throughout the whole home. So that has sort of been decided as our sort of accent in this home. So we have the stone running up in here. That was just something we wanted to add in there. And then also there's a full bath. So sometimes you'll see sort of a half bath up here. We decided we wanted to run it a full bath. That gives the ability to take a shower. So out here, speaking of showers, out here we have the spa and fireplace. So let's say you're entertaining up here, Andy. You have a dip in the spa. You know, you can go rinse off and you can shower in there. So out here on the deck, we have an outdoor fire pit. So this fireplace here has a flute that goes out the back, so there's no chimney needed. It's also outdoors, so it'll be a little bit easier. Sometimes you'll see they'll put some heaters up above in the ceiling, and with this fireplace here, it actually provides a lot of warmth. So we didn't have to do that, and we were able to put speakers in there instead.
Much better.
So we have the spa out here. As you'll see in here, this is the spa, and then we have a beautiful view down toward the beach here in Pacific City. One last little thing is, so what we decided to do is we actually this is ceramic tile, so it'll test better, it'll withstand the weather a lot better, and it'll last a lot longer and be a lot less maintenance. So that was something that we really, kind of enjoyed, is putting it up here, and then also some other conditions downstairs as well.
Okay, so now we are at 816 right next door, Huntington Street. So you guys got to see all of those beautiful custom finishes in the house next door. This one is about 60 days away. It's such a huge advantage to work with a builder like Nick, because all those crazy custom things that we just saw, you can come in this stage as this house is right now and pick your stone, pick your finishes, pick your pulls for your cabinets. Just an incredible opportunity for a buyer that you're not going to get in most builds. So maybe walk us through kind of this house, how it's different, and the stage it's in now.
Absolutely. So as he had mentioned, we're just a couple of months from being completed of this project. The good news for somebody like you is that when you're at this stage, there's a lot of time and energy that goes into putting this all together to get to the point that it's at now. Doesn't have quite as much client or home buyer involvement. I mean, especially now that architecture is all completed and approved by the city, that is probably the only step that somebody else might be interested in getting involved early on. But at this stage, we're ready for all of the finishes. So where we're at right now is the slabs for the kitchen countertops, a slab or tile choice for the kitchen backsplash, the actual kitchen appliances. We have a few in mind, but we're definitely open to suggestion. So as you'll see behind me, where we're currently at is we've got all of the caps put together. We have the doors ready, gonna install those. But we do have some LED light strips, so you'll see some low voltage wires going through there. So we'll have LEDs running all the way underneath, and then we'll have some canned lights that have displays on some of the upper cabs as well, with some glass fronts on them. As you'll see here, we have this already pre-done. So we have a slab going on here. One of the things that I think could be very much customized is whether or not a buyer will be interested in doing a waterfall feature. As we showed you on the other side, it's where, as I'm sure you may know, it does actually go from here and then runs all the way down to the floor. But in addition, it is also very much desirable, not necessarily slab, but an accent paneling. So whether that's tongue and groove in a horizontal vertical format, or whether it's a herringbone or chevron finish on the accent itself. So that's something to be customized. In addition, as you see here, the cabinets, they're all oak, so we don't use any of that, anything but some real good hardwoods. So this oak cabinetry here is available for a particular color or particular stain that you desire. We also encourage that that same stain be then finished on this gigantic custom door that we put in. This door was actually decided on before we even framed the home, so that we can make the rough opening of this specific to this particular door. Something that we very much enjoy. So back to the cabinets here. In addition to the customization of the slab and the backsplash, we have this farm sink here. The pulls are available for customization. So there's a couple of different options, whether you use an edge pull where it comes off the top, or we just router the top, or whether you use a traditional pull where it comes from the middle of the cab. And then as I'm thinking about it, back to the finish, not only a color or a stain as far as what you might be interested in the finish, but in addition, one of the great features that we're willing to discuss as far as customization is if you really want to get detailed, we'd be more than happy to do a different color. So we have the primary kitchen, this wall and this wall, one particular color, one particular stain, and then we can do the island a different color if that's something that you're interested or that you want.
Okay guys, so I love front doors. Nick is obsessed with front doors, so much so he actually decided to buy this door before this house was framed. The house was literally built around this door. It's important to have a front door, but why is it so important to you?
Okay, so I would answer it this way. So as a lot of people acknowledge and would agree upon, homes are normally sold with the kitchen and the master bath, right? So I'm sure that's something you're very familiar with. In addition though, the curb appeal and the entryway are also very, very important when it comes to that first impression. So for me, curb appeal is very, very important. A little less ability to control that aside from the exterior materials. However, something like an enormous custom entry door, we can control. So what we did is, while we were in foundation, and you're absolutely right, this house was theoretically, I mean technically it was built around this door. While we were in foundation, I was already picking out a custom door to go here, and we actually built this around it, meaning we had the rough opening positioned exactly for this door. So this door you cannot buy you have to custom make it because of the height and the width of it. So we just really have fallen in love with this. This door also running this, this paneling here. So having these grooves are also something that we were interested in because I knew that we were gonna do tongue and groove accent walls inside this farmhouse. So we thought that this would be a great feature to sort of complement and kind of have that cohesive accent feature, which is the paneling system where whether it be shiplap or whether it be nickel slotted V-groove, there's a lot, whether it's lap over, there's a thin strip that you see, and that's the detail that really separates it from a traditional drywall.
So a really cool feature to mention that's not in the home that's next door, but they decided to actually build in this one, which I personally think is an amazing feature to have in a home, especially people are living longer. Right. This is an elevator behind me, which is amazing, goes to all the floors of the home. But if you're 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, you can still live in this 3-story home because you have this feature. So maybe kind of talk to us about why you decided to put this here. And I mean, it's a legit elevator.
Yeah, it is. But this is essentially what you would see in any lobby. There's gonna be a control unit right here. It's gonna have you go up and down. Obviously everybody knows how the elevator works, but once we get the cabin here, you'll be able to see it is actually a full elevator. Going back a little bit to sort of why we're doing this here is, as Andy said, yes, people are living longer. You know, it's known that, you know, with modern science and with everything in technology, it's inevitable that we're going to be living longer. In addition, it's a 3-story home. So I think when you put the 2 and 2 together, it definitely makes the conversation worth having as to whether or not you would have an elevator in a home. Now, the reason why we don't do it on all of them is it is an expense. It is something that as a builder we have to pay extra attention to. It is something that requires some little extra attention on maintenance going forward. So that's something to be mindful of and be aware of. But I think the significance of putting it in this home is what we wanted to do is test the market, see if it's something that is definitely worth it for a buyer, if somebody's interested in kind of recouping the build costs for something like that, i.e. having the price of the home valued a little bit higher. And so those are kind of the things that we're playing back and forth with.
So we are now in this room that's just behind the kitchen. And again, my friends, I cannot stress this enough, why it's so important to work with a builder, a custom builder like Nick. This room has so many different things it can be. I'm gonna let Nick talk about them, but man, so versatile when you get into a project like this before it's completed.
Absolutely. So we're standing down here. We're just before the garage here. This is an entry room here. When we went through architecture, Revere wanted to make sure that we had a space down here that had options. So as Andy mentioned, when we first got this property, we created this room to be a den. But if you act now, one of the things that we can do to customize is it has the opportunity to be, as you'll see, there's an open entry area. This can be barn doored to close, or we can actually frame it out and make it just the width of one door. So it's really up to you. The significance of what type of door is naturally contingent upon what you want to do to the room. So we can make a den out of it. So whether it's an office / study, and then there's maybe a futon for a pull-out if somebody does want to use this space as, you know, maybe a guest comes just for a particular night or something like that. Or we can actually make it an entire bedroom. So what we would do is, we were talking a little bit before, is it's definitely important to work with a good custom home builder like Revere, because what we would do is we can absolutely, there's a pretty large reveal here, so we can absolutely add a closet here, frame this out, or even leave it a double barn door, but it would be able to be a downstairs bedroom. That might be attractive to somebody, depending on how many family members they have, or maybe an elder, something like that, maybe an in-law. Lastly, so we have an office, a study, we have a downstairs bedroom. This could also be converted into a gym. So something that we were kind of playing around with is that if a buyer comes in here and say they're very much into having a morning workout routine or an evening one, or they want a spot for Pilates or yoga, whatever the case may be, it could absolutely be done that way. And then I said lastly, but even another thought came to mind, this could be a good entertaining space like a movie theater. You could put some seating here. So there's a lot of customizations we can do on the aforementioned different room options. If it was a movie theater, it might be great to build a custom entertainment unit cabinetry with some lowers and uppers. It might be great to build some elevated seating. If this was an office, it might be great to, you know, put in a custom, you know, bookshelf to put material or books or things that may be involved in your craft or your vocation. So all of that stuff is definitely something that we are encouraging you to bring to us. We have great ideas and we'd love to make them turn into reality for you.
Okay, so now we are on the second floor. We're in this beautiful master suite with all of this natural light that comes in. There's got these views for days here on the second floor, beautiful fireplace, and again, one of my favorite features is these beautiful exposed beams, and behind us is this amazing custom bathroom. But here's something that I wanted Nick to talk about is these beautiful window frames and window boxes throughout this giant, beautiful home. Why did you guys decide to trim them out?
So we trimmed them out because when you come here, if you are really kind of looking through a microscope, there's a lot of times you'll see from the edge of the drywall to the window itself, the caulking over time tends to crack a little bit. In addition, the drywall is very soft and sensitive, and all it takes is, you know, opening this window really quickly, and there's a lot of nicks and dings that get into this drywall. So one of the things we wanted to do is in a proactive kind of measure is by trimming this all out and putting a sill all the way around every single window of this entire house, we're gonna be able to have, not to mention on some of the accent walls, it's also a great feature. Not to get a little too specific, but the termination of an accent wall, so all of that tongue and groove, as you'll see back here, this is a nickel slotted V-groove and it's a version of a tongue and groove accent, but if it doesn't wrap around and it stops at the edge of a wall, sometimes you'll have kind of an unaesthetically pleasing edge piece. So what we did was it'll also allow for us to hide that edge and terminate because we have a little bit of a painter's edge coming out here. So it'll hide the termination and it'll just look flush.
Okay, so we're now in this immaculate front yard with these great fire pits, these stairs. This is where there's gonna be a lot of, like, you know, people hanging out, kids, barbecues. There's a ton of space up here. You could have a full-blown party. There's a lot of land. So maybe kind of give us the backstory on this one and the next one.
Sort of the differences and sort of the aesthetics here. We ran turf. It's a very, very small condition. It seemed kind of silly to put real grass, mowing. So it looks really real. This is a high-end turf, and we ran this with a checkered pattern. We had this pattern designed before we put in the hardscape. We did want to add some variation. So as you'll see here, we ran this one with just some straight lines. It does add sort of some differences here, but then in addition, we put a little accent color on this one here for the fire pit. I would say another thing to make mention is that the railings. So all of these railings, we have a great guy here at Revere that does custom fabrication. He's a great contractor, and we made these from scratch. Well, he made these from scratch, and what they are is these are in a herringbone format, which complements some of the applications of tile inside the home. In addition, up on there behind our company logo, we actually have the same pattern. So it's just a great feature. Really like it. It does have some variation considering the modern contemporary was a little less kind of herringbone friendly. So we just walled off the whole thing, and then so that adds some sort of variation to it. Because if you see here, this pony wall here is like 32 inches to 35-inch pony wall is just, it's just, you know, smooth stuccoed over, whereas this does have a railing, and so it adds some sort of aesthetic variation to it that hopefully the buyers that come in here will have a sense of ownership and uniqueness about their own particular home than necessarily, you know, if both of them looked exactly the same. So that was just something we were mindful of during the build. And
it's smart. And again, I'm gonna say this over and over again, it's the attention to detail which really separates Nick and his team. And it's so fun to work with these guys because I know going in, I'm not gonna have to worry about much. It's already been handled. So Nick, great job, brother.
Thank you, appreciate it. You liked our video, so let us know. Like the video below, leave us a comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel.